All right, good morning, everybody. Today, I'm going to do a little bit of work in the shop. I actually got to go in and go work 12s a day. That was a surprise. But the short version is, I got to take this valve, which I broke this one, and it's just a little plastic piece on the inside of this, and this is the EVAP intensity monitor sensor. And what we're going to do is we're going to place that little plunger right in the middle, and then we're going to put a screw right through this to hold it. Some of the guys said just super glue it. I'm going to use a screw. That's what Motec recommended. I did break the tip off this one. I didn't realize it was a two-position deal, and I turned it too far and popped it. You actually push the lever in and turn it to where it's here, and the thing comes right out. But no big deal. It was brittle anyway, but I just grabbed a hold of it and it broke. But we're going to put that in the middle. Jeep uses a very simple way of checking the EVAP fumes. The General Motors situation is going to be a little bit more complicated and a lot more effective. I am making this thing 50 state compliant, so it's going to have the O2 sensors, it's going to have the GM EVAP system set up, but in order for it to set up, it's going to utilize this integrity module and the wire that plugs into it, and it's going to go into another sensor. So all of that's going to go right up in here and replace some of this stuff. I'm actually going to put the EVAP canister, see if I can walk around here, up here high. So it's going to go up here like this when I get done. So give you a little bit of picture. It's up a lot higher. So it was down here low where it was going to interfere with my new exhaust. And if you do go rock crawling, which this one's probably going to see a lot of that, it's kind of sensitive. I'm taking this fuel pump out. It's a good fuel pump, but this Jeep has 147,000 miles on it, and in order to change in-tank fuel pumps, in this particular one, there's not a hole in the body, so you have to drop the tank, which means dropping the skid plates, taking the straps loose, all of this stuff. It's a little bit more, and even comes up here, there's some vents. So you can see it's a little bit more complicated, but the motor's going to sit in. I do have to do a little bit of work on my motor mounts. This motor did get hit and it did rip the motor mounts back, but I've got new brackets already somewhat fabbed. My buddy Kevin's going to help me get those set up. He's got a nice plasma cutter. I'm going to have him cut it and weld it and place it, but I'm not going to do that until I get the motor mounts. Motec has a new transmission plate that's going to go here. And then everything, you shuffle everything in line so it lines up with the tube. They give you a little bit of play. Should be pretty awesome. So I'm trying to get all of the fab work done. Another buddy at the wedding suggested POR 15 for the frame. This frame is actually remarkably good. I'm really surprised on how clean this frame and everything is. We really got a pretty good base vehicle to do our first V8 Jeep. So anyway, I'm going to do that today. It's a little nippy in the shop. I've got the propane heater on. I will turn it off before I start on that. We're not going to have any fumes there. I do have the neck covered in plastic and tape, so I don't have any fumes getting into the shop. I did that so I could wash the frame, obviously, too, but I wanted to keep it covered so there's no fumes. There's a few other things we need to do, but for the most part, things are cleaning up pretty well. I started working on the wiring up there. I got the new heater hoses in place, the Walker heater hoses for the LS. Pretty simple. My Harbor Freight horns, for whatever reason this didn't have any horns. I put those horns under. They're actually super loud. It was like $10. They'll probably not work 5 or 10 minutes, but they've worked so far. And then when we get done, we'll do tires and wheels and that sort of thing. But the big part is getting this bad boy in the Jeep, getting that one, the Jeep 3.8 minivan motor and transmission, out of here, getting some space. We still are a working gym. It's been muddy. I actually moved the truck around a little bit, so I'm not necessarily driving the mud. When the crew comes today to work out, they'll have to pull the pads back out. But so we're able to utilize the shop still for our evening workouts, and I am going to be able to do the project, and no big deal. So I did have the top of my workbench cleaned off, but miraculously, just after a couple of days working, it's filled back up. So we're going to correct that situation before we get started.